Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we're going to be playing Shiranui. Now Shiranui is a deck that has been in the game for a very long time, and it's a deck that has not had access to any of its high-powered cards the entire time it's been here. But finally, Konami has given us the last bit of Shiranui support, and they've also given us a skill which makes Shiranui function perfectly. This deck is now very, very powerful. I've got a bunch of replays to show you guys tonight, and I hope that you guys enjoy looking at this deck, how cheap it is, with the pickup box still on sale until February 18th, and the new box giving you exactly what you need to make this deck function. Alright, for the skill we have Shiranui Style Successor. At the beginning of the duel, if you have 10 or more zombie-type monsters in your deck, add 4 Shiranui monsters to your extra deck, and send 1 Shiranui Spectral Sword card to your graveyard from outside your deck. During this duel, you can only special summon Link monsters and Fire zombie monsters. That's what you can summon in this duel. You can also use any of the following effects below only once during the duel. Send 1 level 4 monster in your hand to the graveyard, add 1 Shiranui card in your hand to your deck. Return all Synchro and Link monsters to your extra deck that are banished from your graveyard, including 2 or more Synchro monsters. Banish 2 zombie-type fire monsters with different levels from your extra deck. Said monsters can be special summoned. So it adds Sun Saga, Shogun Saga, Samurai Saga, and Sword Saga, which is fantastic. That gives us, just like the Mayakashi skill, basically every Synchro monster we need, and it also allows us to start with the Spectral Sword in the graveyard, so we don't even need to put Spectral Sword in the graveyard. It's fantastic. For the main deck, we have 3 copies of DD Crow, just a great card that allows you to control the mirror, as well as Live Twins, Mayakashi, and a few other annoying decks on the ladder. Mizuki. This is probably the most annoying card in the deck because it can't be special summoned. Mizuki can't be special summoned because it's not a fire zombie. So you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 zombie-type monster in your graveyard and special summon it. The problem with this card is that if you activate this skill and send this card from your hand to the graveyard, then you banish it with the Spectral Sword to Synchro Summon a level 6. You can't use Shiranui Spectral Sword Shade's effect because it forces you to target 2 monsters and special summon both of them, and you can't special summon this card solely because of the skill. It's very frustrating, especially since the skill is mistranslated and written very weird. But that's the long and short of it. So if you're not going to use the skill to send Mizuki to the graveyard, how do you get it in the graveyard? Usually you send it with the effect of Shiranui Squire. When it's banished, you draw a card and discard a card. So you draw a card, you discard your Mizuki, and then you can use that effect. I might cut these, honestly, and put more level 4 Shiranui cards in there, just because it makes the deck inconsistent to have this card in here. Shiranui Solitaire, you contribute 1 zombie monster, special summon a zombie tuner with 0 defense from your deck. If this card is banished, you can target 1 of your banished Shiranui monsters and special summon it. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, Solitaire is usually used specifically to discard for the skill, and then when you banish it with the Spectral Sword, you can just use Solitaire to bring Spectral Sword back. It's fantastic. Squire, when this card is normal summon, you can special summon Shiranui Spectral Sword monster from your deck or hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except zombies. If this card is banished, you can draw a card, then discard a card. So Squire is our normal summon. If we don't have Squire in our hand when we use the skill, then we're going to draw Squire. If we do have Squire in our hand, we will draw the Trap. This is a great card, and it's a fantastic starter for our combo. Shiranui Spirit Master. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon a Shiranui monster from your hand or graveyard except Spirit Master, but banish it when it leaves the field. If this card is banished, you can target 1 face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. You can only use this effect of Shiranui Spirit Master once per turn. Okay, so Spirit Master is different than the other cards because it does not negate the monster's effects. So, if you've already lost your Supremacy, you can summon Spirit Master, bring Supremacy back to the field, and then Supremacy can use its effect during your opponent's turn. It's important, though, because Supremacy's arrow points to the left if it's in the main monster zone. You need to, if you're summoning Spirit Master to an empty board after Supremacy has been destroyed, you need to make sure that you do not put Supremacy anywhere but the right side. Summon it to the right side, summon your Supremacy to the middle, then you still have the left space open to bring back one of your Synchro monsters. This is a very, very strong recovery card, and I like it a lot. I might just cut the Mizukis and get this card because it does the same thing. It revives a monster from your graveyard. You just don't need to put it in the graveyard to do it. So this is great. Shiranui Spectral Sword Shade. You contribute this card, target 2 of your banished zombie monsters, including a Shiranui monster. Special summon them in defense position but negate their effects. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except zombies. We normal summon Squire, we special summon Spectral Sword Shade, and then we contribute it to get both the monsters that we banished back to our field so that we can link summon. It's a great card. MST, Crackdown, Compulse, all cards to control the board. Lastly, we have Shiranui style Samsara. This is a continuous trap. Its name becomes Synthesis while it is in the spell and trap zone. Once per turn, you can activate one of these effects. Banish a face-up zombie monster you control. You take no damage this turn. That's amazing. So, in this game, that's really powerful. It legitimately usually will resolve. It legitimately will usually just buy you another turn, and with the amount of comeback that this deck has, that turn is all you need. Samsara is one of the best cards I've ever seen for going first. We had cards like Howl Life Barrier and Rainbow Life that were limited to 2 because of how good they were going first, and those cards required you to discard a card. This card just requires you to banish a face-up monster. That's not that difficult to do, and you can do it more than once. So this card is searchable, it's very powerful, and it's going to be probably one of your best cards going first. So don't sleep on this card. The other effect is to target 2 of your banished zombie-type monsters with 0 defense, shuffle them both into the deck, and then draw a card. The problem with this effect is that you will usually use it to put your Spectral Sword back, and if Spectral Sword isn't in your rotation, it makes it a lot harder for you to make any of your plays. So kind of be careful with that second effect. For the extra deck, we have the monsters that we added. We have Squire Saga, which can banish a monster from your field or graveyard. Then if it was a zombie, all your monsters gain 300 attack. If it's a fire, you can destroy 1 spell or trap on the field without targeting. And if it's a synchro, you can destroy 1 monster on the field, again, without targeting. Amazing. Doom Kaiser Dragon. When this card is special summon, you can target 1 zombie-type monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon that target to your side of the field in attack position, but destroy it when this card leaves the field. The reason why we're playing this card is because it's fire, so we can make it. We can't make any of the other level 6s because they're all not fire. And because you can only special summon Shiranui Samurai Saga once per turn. So you can't just play another copy of Samurai Saga, because if you need to make another level 6, you're not going to be able to. Doom Kaiser Dragon requires Plague Spreader Zombie, so you cannot synchro summon it normally. You can only summon it with the effect of Spectral Sword in your graveyard. However, this card has a unique benefit of destroying the mirror. This card is insane for the mirror. Stealing your opponent's Spectral Sword before they've started their turn on turn 1 is so powerful, and you will use it for extra bodies. You will be able to synchro summon with it. You're going to love playing Doom Kaiser Dragon in the mirror. It is insane. If you are a Shiranui player, you're going against a Shiranui player, and they're going first, just concede. Just concede. You have no chance. Nightmare Unicorn and Nightmare Phoenix, obvious cards. Shiranui Skill Saga Supremacy. This is the entire deck. 2 or more zombie-type monsters. Synchro monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. Fire monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Those effects stack. That's crazy. During your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can target 1 of your banished zombie-type synchro monsters, special summon it to your zone this card points to. You can only use this effect once per turn. Great. So, we use the skill, we return all of our synchro monsters to our extra deck, then we banish Sun Saga and Sword Saga. Then during our opponent's turn, Supremacy can revive Sun Saga, and Sun Saga will return Sword Saga to the extra deck to destroy 1 card on the field without targeting. That's insane. And then after that, Supremacy makes it so that Sun Saga cannot be destroyed in battle, and it can't be destroyed by card effects. And it has 3,500 attack points, and Sun Saga has an effect where if another monster you control would be destroyed, you can banish a Shiranui monster from your graveyard instead, not once per turn, and it triggers all of your Shiranui effects. It's crazy good how well this deck works when it's so easy to set up Supremacy. I don't think the skill is going to get nerfed. I think the skill is right at the cusp of playability. It's a strong deck. It's a good deck, it's a fun deck, but it's not an overpowered deck. And that's why I'm telling you guys that you should definitely try this deck out. Yuki-Onna, the Icicle Mayakashi, you can only control 1. If you special summon this card, you can target 1 of your effect monsters your opponent controls and negate its effects permanently. You can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 of your zombie-type synchro monsters that is banished in your graveyard. Yuki-Onna is an interesting card. It doesn't target, and it also can special summon from both the banished and in the graveyard. So the reaction that most people have to Yuki-Onna being activated is to DD Crow whatever is good in your graveyard. The problem is, you don't target. So banishing the card from your graveyard before your effect resolves doesn't matter, because you don't choose the monster that you're reviving until resolution. And Yuki-Onna can special summon from either the graveyard or the banished zone. So you banish my monster, okay, well I could special summon it from the banished zone, and I didn't declare that I was targeting that monster, so you banishing it doesn't interrupt it anyway. So Yukiona is a very hard card to play around for the opponent. The problem with Yukiona in this deck is getting her in the graveyard. It's not easy at all. I don't know why people are playing this card, really. I always want to go into Supremacy. So, yes, the negate is potentially useful if you, I guess, run into Eternal Bond or something, but I haven't seen this card see any use so far, and the people who've summoned it against me have all lost, so take for that what you will. Avenged Savior, during damage calculation, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can send one zombie-type monster from your deck to the graveyard. That opponent's monster loses attack equal to the level of the monster sent to the graveyard times 200 until the end of the turn. So Savior is meh. It's an okay card. The primary reason we want to play it is so that we can mill Shiranui cards to banish for Sun Saga, or mill Mizuki so that we can use Mizuki's effect. It's fine. Lastly, we have Vampire Sucker. This card is terrible, but there's not really another card that we could really play in this slot, so it's funny enough. If you attribute a monster for a tribute summon, you contribute a zombie-type monster your opponent controls, even though you do not control them. Remember that for the Zombie World deck, because we're going to play that deck in a bit. You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. You can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, special summon it to your opponent's field in defense position, but it becomes a zombie-type monster. If a zombie monster is special summoned from either graveyard, draw a card. So remember, the effect sounds good, but remember, the skill locks us. So the only monsters that we can special summon are Link monsters and zombie fire monsters. So why are we playing Vampire Sucker? That sounds like we'll never get her off. Because again, it destroys the mirror. This card will allow you to force the Spectral Sword in your opponent's graveyard to their side of the field. And it's not in the graveyard. They can send it to the graveyard themselves, but if they do that, it can't banish itself. Which means that the skill, the cost to discard a card to draw another card, becomes a cost instead of rather than setting up a combo. And it becomes extremely difficult for you to actually banish cards to set up any of your plays. So this deck is entirely built around how the skill sets you up. It's not intuitive to play it without the skill. So when you steal your opponent's monster, use it for your own Link summoning, and then special summon it back to their field and draw a card for your troubles, you really mess up the Shiranui player. So, seeing as we get 4 extra cards in our extra deck from the skill, we don't really need all 8 slots. I think it's kind of worth it to run this one slot just to completely ruin the mirror, especially since this deck is going to be pretty powerful. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the replay. Alright, so we are going second against Tachyon. Our opponent's turn, they're going to reveal Schwarzschild, draw Nebula, set the Schwarzschild on the field, flip it face up, and activate the skill, return it to the hand to add Rank Up Magic Burying Force to their hand. Then a normal summon Seifert effect, discard the Galactic Spiral Dragon, draw a Galactic Spiral Dragon, Nebula Dragon, special summon the Galactic Spiral Dragon. Now they are now Dragon Locked. Galactic Spiral tries to use the effect to change Nebula to level 8, or to Seifert to level 8, but it's negated, so. There's the Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, set 2 and pass. Alright, it's our turn, and we're going to activate Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy one of their cards. We get rid of the Forbidden Lance, that's nice. Then we activate the skill. We send the Solitaire from our hand to the graveyard to draw Squire. Now we activate the Shiranui Spectral Swords effect in the graveyard. So remember, this card starts in our graveyard from the skill. Banish 2 to Synchro Summon. So we banish both monsters and we summon a level 6. Then we can activate Solitaire's effect. When Solitaire is banished, you get to special summon another monster that was banished. So we special summon the Spectral Sword again. And now we can synchro from a 6 to an 8. So we synchro into the Shogun Saga. Shogun Saga is our level 8 that was added with the skill. When it's synchro summoned, you can banish a monster from your graveyard, and if you do, it gains that monster's attack points until the end of the turn. So we banish the synchro monster, we get 2,400 attack points. At this point, we haven't used our normal summon yet. Our opponent still holds their Tachyon Transmigration. We normal summon Squire, and the opponent is going to activate Tachyon Transmigration in response, negate Squire's effects, and shuffle it back into the deck. Okay, so Squire is not live. But we still have a huge, powerful monster. We set 1, and we beat over the Tachyon. It's the opponent's turn. They activate their skill. They're going to return it to the hand. Grab the Rank Up Magic Burying Force. Normal summon Seifert. We will crack down it. The opponent's going to Forbidden Lance in response. But then they concede because they don't have anything else that they can do. The other card was a rank up Magic Variance Force. And there you go. So that is the power of Shiranui. That is the power of playing a deck that easily combines and clears through your opponent's entire strategy. Without even normal summoning, you are able to bring out a massively powerful monster. And if you are able to normal summon, you can set up a Link Synchro loop that destroys your opponent. And let's take a look at that, actually. Usually I only do one of these replays, but because that replay doesn't really show you the loop, I want to go ahead and do another one that does show you the loop so that you can kind of see how the deck works. This replay is against Tenyi, so it's less relevant to everyone right now, which is why I didn't want to just spotlight that one. But you can see that this deck is good against basically everything. Alright, this time we're going first. Okay, so we have no back row. Keep that in mind. 0 back row, but we're going against Tenyi. Let's see how we do. We activate the skill, we are going to discard our Solitaire, and since we already have Squire, we are going to search Samsara. Activate Spectral Sword, banish the Solitaire from the graveyard to special summon the Doom Kaiser Dragon. Solitaire effect, this allows us to bring back the Spectral Sword, and now we can normal summon Squire. Squire is going to bring out the Spectral Sword Shade, and then we are going to Synchro Summon with Squire and Spectral Sword into the Samurai Saga. Then we link all 3 of these monsters off. So in order to make the Supremacy work, you have to activate the skill, which requires you to return 2 Synchro monsters from your graveyard to your extra deck. So in order to set up the skill, you must Synchro Summon twice. The skill gives you the first one, but you have to Synchro Summon again, which is why we're playing the Spectral Sword to tribute and get the Tuner monster back to our field so that we can easily find another Synchro monster to make. But you can see that we used up every card on our field to make this Supremacy. So you have to have 2 monsters that are banished from the Spectral Sword and then summon them both back with the Shade in order to get the full combo off. Now we activate the skill. We're going to return the 2 Synchro monsters we made to our extra deck, and now we banish both the Sun Saga and the Sword Saga. Sun Saga is the monster we intend to summon. Sword Saga is the monster we intend to never summon. So the reason why we're banishing that monster is because it can stay banished, and whenever we're ready, we'll just use it as cost to summon the Sun Saga and pop a card. We set our MST and our Samsara, and we pass to the opponent. Now it's the opponent's turn. They special summon Mapura, and they activate Flawless Perfection. We are going to immediately MST that so that we don't give them a draw. Opponent's going to link off into Monk of the Tenyi. Then they activate Vessel for the Dragon Cycle, they mill the Vishuda, and they add the Adhara to the hand. Okay. At this point, they're going to activate Vishuda to try and get rid of our Supremacy. We chain to that. We're going to target the Sun Saga and revive it. Skill Saga does return to the extra deck, but now we can use Sun Saga's effect. We bring back our monster, and we are going to destroy the Monk of the Tenyi. Now, this does not target. Then you can destroy cards your opponent controls equal to the number of cards returned. So he doesn't target, so that means that Mapura does nothing. However, he does have Shithana in his hand. So he's going to banish the Shithana. So at this point, he has used up multiple Tenyi monsters, and he's only got 2 cards left in his hand with Monk of the Tenyi. That's all he's got. He's going to try and destroy Sun Saga, but Sun Saga, remember, has an effect where if a card you control would be destroyed, you can banish a Shiranui monster from your graveyard instead multiple times. So we're going to banish the Squire from our graveyard to protect. Then we're going to activate Squire's effect, where if it's banished, we draw a card and discard a card. We were going to discard whatever card we drew, but we happened to draw the 1 copy of Spectral Sword Shade that we had left, which is the card I was going to summon off of Squire anyway. So I had to go ahead and let the Squire go, which is sad for me. Ashuna's effect, special summon itself. Then normal summon Adhara. Synchro into the Boxia, the Brightness of the Yang Zhang. Okay, so the opponent is now going to try and get rid of our Sun Saga without destroying it. That works, but we do have the Samsara, so we're going to chain by activating Samsara and banishing the Sun Saga. The opponent is going to then revive. The opponent is then going to banish Ashuna to summon another Shithana so they can have more protection during our turn. Then they link all these off into Berserker of the Tenyi and gain 2,000 life points. At this point, they will banish the Adhara to add the Vishuda to the hand. Vishuda, remember, was milled by Vessel, so it was never summoned normally. So they'll summon it again, and they'll link into Monk of the Tenyi, and now they have 4,000. They attack us directly, and then realize, no, we don't take any damage. Pass to us, it's our turn. Now, we have no board, we have one monster in hand, we drew a dead card. How are we going to get past all of this? The opponent has both Mapora and Shithana in the graveyard. They have 6,000 life points. We only have 2 cards in our hand, and one of them is a hand trap. What can we possibly do here, chat? Well, here's what we can do. We activate the Shiranui Spectral Swords effect again. Remember that we return to the graveyard by Synchro Summoning with it. And then we banish the Squire to summon the Doomkaiser Dragon yet again. We draw a card, we discard a card. We're going to discard the Compulsory Evacuation Device. Now we're going to discard our DD Crow to banish the Shithana, so the opponent does not have protection. Normal summon Spectral Sword Shade, tribute it to special summon 2 monsters, the Spectral Sword and the Shiranui Solitaire, and then we also link off the Doomkaiser. This allows us to bring back the Supremacy. Remember, he bounced Supremacy, he didn't destroy it, so we can just link summon it again. We attack into the Monk of the Tenyi. Remember also that we banished Sun Saga to pay the cost of the trap card. So Sun Saga has been banished for us. We're good. We pass to... We destroy Monk of the Tenyi and pass to our opponent. Our opponent's Shithana is taken care of, so that doesn't come back. The opponent is going to banish Vashuda again to target Supremacy again. And we're going to respond to that again by activating our Supremacy to bring back Sun Saga, use its effect to return the Doomkaiser to the extra deck to destroy the Berserker of the Tenyi, again without targeting it. This Mapora is just sitting in the graveyard, useless. The opponent drew Vashuda, so they can special summon the Vashuda, link it off, but they can't use the grave effect because they just used it. And that's all they've got. There you go. That is the full loop, the full combo of Shiranui. That's their recovery power. That is their ability to stand up to what was a Tier 1 deck, as well as to stand up to the actual Tier 1 deck from the previous replay. My name is Sarafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.